Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining us on today's Masters in Finance webinar. My name is Chrispa Palaiologou and I'm the Recruitment Manager for the MBA and the Masters in Finance programs. My team and I are responsible for supporting you every step of the way until you submit your application. Today I have with me Francisco Conforti, one of our full-time student ambassadors, that has kindly agreed to join us and share with you more about the content and the student experience. I would like to add here that this is a unique opportunity to ask questions about the student experience, and you can contact us afterwards after the webinar via email or phone call if you want to ask questions specific to your profile or questions about the application process. Francisco, would you like to introduce yourself briefly and tell us about your nationality, what area you were working before the Masters in Finance program, and what are your aspirations?
Sure. Thank you, Chrispa. As you mentioned, I'm Francisco Conforti. I'm Argentinian from an Italian family. I have both nationalities. So I'm living here as an European citizen. I used to work for Telecom Argentina for the last more than 4 years, working as a team leader of the financial resources department of the company. The company was part of Telecom Italia Group, and 3 years ago it was bought by a family office company called Fintech Advisory. The company changed its profile a lot, and on May of this year I moved here and I participate on the professional experience programming of BBVA here in Canary Wharf, London, on their private debt trading desk and leverage finance. Well, I think that's what I can tell you about.
Great, thank you very much, Francisco. And again, thank you very much for coming. So Francisco will answer any questions you might have at the end of this presentation. So today we will focus on the Masters in Finance program content and structure, the two different formats that we offer, and the various different experiences and options available to our students. Please feel free to start writing your questions in the meantime while we're going through the presentation, and we'll answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. So we welcomed our current classes for both the full-time and part-time Masters in Finance programs, and this is the snapshot of our full-time class. We have in total 126 students, and 36 nationalities are being represented across the program, with 93% of international students throughout the class. You can see the average age is 29, and the average years of work experience of 5. And this is the part-time class snapshot. We have 64 students, and 27 nationalities represented. You can see there's a bit more seniority within the part-time class, so we do have an average age of 32 and 8 years of average work experience. Between the two programs, there are a lot of shared years of work experience. That experience, together with the skills, knowledge, and networks acquired during the program, are things that employers really value. In LBS, we promote collaboration, so more than a third of your project work will be group work. Your study group will contain a range of different work experience drawn from different finance sectors and cultures. We have approximately 300 Masters in Finance students in the school, counting in the 2017 intakes, our part-time students that got admitted in 2016, and they're now in their second year, as well as some full-time students that have chosen the optional 4th term. The program office will look after you from the day that you join the program until you graduate. You'll have a program manager dedicated to your class that will be available to answer any questions you might have during your studies. Year 1 starts with a full-time introduction week for both formats, during which you'll complete the Personal Assessment core course, Data Analytics, and Accounting pre-courses. As we will see in that presentation, there's a lot of flexibility on the program. On the full-time version, you can customize the length of the program from 10 to 16 months, depending on whether you would like to fit in an internship during the summer break and fit in some extra international exposure. On the part-time version, you'll be studying You'll be studying every other weekend, and you'll be able to build your second year with our flexible electives. Finally, you'll be attending the congregation, a way to celebrate the end of your degree and network one more time with the rest of the Masters in Finance students. After the orientation week, the students start their journey on their chosen formats. You'll start the program and you'll have to complete the rest 4 core courses that will be completed in term 1 during full-time and throughout year 1 on the part-time program. The core courses are investments, corporate finance, financial accounting and analysis, and purpose of finance, as you've already completed the personal assessment and development on your orientation week. For the full-time, you'll be on campus most of the time on year 1, and on the part-time, year 1 classes run on alternate weekends, usually on a Friday evening from 6:45 until 9:30, and Saturdays from 9 AM until 3:30, with a lunch break in between. Then moving to term 2 and 3, and potentially term 4 for the full-time students, and year 2 for the part-time students, you'll be provided with a pool of electives, and you'll be asked to choose 7 to 10 in total, matching your career aspirations and needs. There are 36 electives available in 87 streams. What that means is that some courses run more than once in more than one format, giving you the flexibility to build your own timetable. You can find an extensive list of the electives on our website, but just to give you some examples, we have fixed income, banks and financial institutions, negotiations and bargaining, hedge funds, corporate finance, and many more. I would like to expand a bit more on what I meant before, that electives come in different formats. We have the regular format, which is 1 lecture a week over a 10-week term. The 5-week format, where you actually compress the above format in 5 weeks, therefore you'll have 2 lectures a week of that elective for 5 weeks. The modular format, which is 2 lectures on alternate Fridays or Saturdays over a 10-week term. And finally, the block week format, which gives you the option to complete 1 elective in a week. That gives you the flexibility to build your schedule the way it suits your own needs. On the program, you'll also have the option to choose a concentration. That is not mandatory. You can keep your options open, or you can specialize on investment management and analysis, corporate finance, or risk management and derivatives. If you select a specialization, you'll need to complete 4 electives from a predefined list, attend the relevant practitioner course, and attend the relevant Finance at Work event, which I'm going to discuss in detail in a bit. 50% of our students will choose a concentration, with corporate finance being the most popular one. There's no right or wrong decision. It is something very personal, but the program office can support you to make the right one for you. So I already mentioned Finance at Work, practitioner courses, optional 4th term for the full-time students, and internships. I would like to go in a bit more detail into them now. Our Finance at Work event runs once a term. We actually have our next one coming up tomorrow, and all our students are very excited about it. The main focus of this event is to give you industry access, with speakers talking about hot topics such as investments and corporate finance, involving alumni and led by faculty, which will give you another great networking opportunity. The practitioner modules are short optional courses that you can add to your curriculum as a bonus. There are 3 to 5 sessions on it, and they are led by leading practitioners of the industry. One example is our Business and Corporate Finance Practitioner course run by senior alums. They'll bring in context and real-life experiences within the subject, deepening your knowledge even further. As a full-time student, you'll have the option to extend your studies to a 4th term, which will resume after the summer break when you can do an internship. This will give you the opportunity to do an international exchange, take the advantage of completing more electives, and have more time for job search. Talking about exchange opportunities, there are 3 experiences available throughout the program. The block week exchange with Colombia gives you the opportunity to complete one elective in New York, meeting and networking with people in that side of the world. So if you would like to get some more exposure there, it would be a great opportunity for you to just spend this 1 week there. Additionally, we have our full-time exchange that takes place in the 4th term. Our partner schools are China Europe International Business School in Shanghai, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology in Hong Kong, the National University of Singapore, and the Tsinghua SEM in Beijing. The full-term exchange is worth the equivalent of 3 to 4 elective credits. For both exchanges, you'll need to complete an application during your studies. Finally, we have our global business experience in Boston and New York City. This is a week-long activity that explores the new challenges of the asset management industry. It is a joint activity with the MBA, and it is an optional element of the program that could give you the opportunity to expand your network and knowledge further. I would highly recommend, we do have a video on the YouTube channel that explains what is involved in that experience and what activities you're going to be doing. So let's now discuss the more exciting stuff and give you the opportunity to answer any questions you might have. But let's start with what's happening outside the classroom. Francisco, can you talk to us a bit more about the extracurricular activities that are available within the school community? Have you been involved with any? What do you do outside the classroom?
Okay. Well, I'm involved in several extracurricular activities. Just to mention some, I'm officer at the Private Equity and Venture Capital Club, representing the private debt and leverage finance industry. That's something really good for me because it gives me the opportunity to network with a lot of people from this industry. Personally, it's also a challenge because being part of one of these clubs is something that I was wanting to do, and it's something that I'm enjoying a lot. There's also LBS is really special. I should mention this. Maybe most of the people hearing us should know, but every Thursday we are having Sundowners, which is an event on evenings where we have some food, some drinks, and we can spend time both with faculty, alumni, and students. That's something that is really amazing. Also, I'm part of the football club, so I'm playing football twice a week, and we have matches on weekends, on Sunday mornings. And obviously there are some other parties that are organized by different clubs, like the Latin Club. There are some food events too, like the Indian night where everybody goes for some Indian food and things like that. We are living in London, so this is a really cosmopolitan city. It might be the most cosmopolitan city of the world. So you have outside your classroom the opportunity to do almost whatever you want, and it's something that, at least in my case, was really special and something that I consider a lot before applying to LBS.
Perfect, thank you very much. Quite a lot of parting, as everyone can hear, but a lot of serious stuff as well through the professional clubs. Can you tell us a bit more about your involvement within the private equity club?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm officer responsible for the private debt and leverage finance industry. I'm covering that industries. My job there is to reach all these companies and professionals and to bring them to campus to present their businesses to current students and to introduce. In this case, well, it was something that I have proposed because it was last year it was not covered by anyone. So my idea, at least, was to introduce the private debt industry to school and to students. The private equity club is one of the biggest clubs here, and I have realized that most of the students don't know that the private debt industry is really related with the private equity. Just to mention a short example, private debt is the industry that finances all the private equity deals. So you are working on the same deals, on the same rationales of investments and everything, but instead of analyzing the investment, you are analyzing the financing. So my idea was to develop this industry at school. I have had the support both of the Career Center and the club, the Private Equity and Venture Capital Club. At the club we have some speaking sessions where we invite professionals to speak with our students, and also we prepare a big conference every spring called Multiplex, LBS Multiplex, where it's on a hotel, really professional, and we invite more than 40 professionals from both private equity and venture capital, and we have different panels on different topics. It's really exciting if you love this industry and if you want to work there. Also participating in this kind of clubs, there are several clubs, right? I'm on the private equity, but you have finance, you have investment management, industry, energy, several related to different industries, but gives you the opportunity to network with professionals, not only alumni, but also people with long professional experience in the industry. And that's something really valuable for a student who is willing to get a job in that industry once you finish your studies.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. We do get a lot of questions about the criteria, the admissions criteria for the program, and about scholarships for the school and things like that. We're going to focus on the program content on this webinar, as we did in an admissions webinar last month. But talking about that, these are the next steps that you can follow. You can submit your CV for review, so we can give you a personal review on your profile, and we can start communicating with you. So do get in touch. You can submit your CV online. You can book a consultation or schedule a phone chat with us, and you can do that by emailing us. So do keep in touch and do send your more personal questions to the myth@london.edu. Cool. So, Francisco, I would like to find out more about what your average day looks like as a Masters in Finance student, as a full-time Masters in Finance student.
Well, being a full-time Master in Finance student, most of my days start with, well, I try to wake up early in the morning, read every newspaper related with the industry that I'm interested and looking for. Most of the days I have a lesson of one of the, right now I'm at the first term, so I'm having my, I'm having my core courses, okay, so I'm having corporate finance, investments, financial accounting, well, I spend each class, it's about 3 hours, but after that you have to prepare the material for the next lesson, and you have also to meet your peers, because most of the assignments are on a group. So I have, in my case, my study group, which is a group of 7. It's a really interested group, at least mine. We have one member from South Korea, another one from China, a Mexican, Germany, India, I'm Argentinian, Italian, and also someone from Saudi Arabia. So as you can imagine, it's really interesting to work on all this stuff. It's not that we met every day, but we try to keep in touch every day, working on the different assignments. And that's related to school. I spend a lot of time studying at school and hanging out with my peers, but also I spend a lot of time trying to network and participate on different events. Just to mention something today, right now, after finishing this webinar, I will be participating on an European CLO summit where companies like Credit Suisse, KKR, Cargill, Goldman Sachs, all of them will be participating in panels, and then you have like a cocktail where you can network. So at least for me, that's really important because give me the opportunity. Maybe I'm mentioning a lot this, but it's really important to network here because in my case, I have work here in London, but just for 3 months. So it's really important to build your own network, to be able to find a job and to get what I have dreamed before coming here. Well, as I mentioned, I also play football twice a week, so we train on Wednesdays and Fridays. We have matches on Sunday mornings. I'm married, so I live with my wife. I live 2 blocks away from school, so it doesn't have. I don't have to wake up really early in the morning to reach to school, but that's something good. It's a really, really good city to spend with your couple, with your wife, your husband. There's many things to do. The nightlife, it's incredible. Maybe it ends really early, but but you have everything you want to do. You have the theater, restaurant, pubs, and you can spend a lot of time with your peers. Hanging out. We have a bar here next to school called Windsor, where we love to, after every, well, not every, because maybe it will sound like too much, but we spend some time there sharing a beer, both with students and faculty. And that's something really special for me because I know a lot of people who have been studying at different schools in America or different schools in different countries of Europe. And at least in my opinion, the connection and the relationship between faculty and students here, it's really good. And I will just to mention something. As I arrived here 3 months before starting my Master in Finance Programming, I contact faculty. I started playing football before being a student yet. I was invited to participate on Sundowner. I was invited to participate on Finance at Work event, and that was something special for me because I was new here, without friends, I was alone with my wife, and I received that support from school. I think that could represent one of my, on a daily basis, what I do. Yeah.
Great. We do have a question that asks more about the program of support. How does the program of support you to make all those choices? There is quite a lot of flexibility within the program. I don't know if you've reached that point of choosing the electives yet and going to that level, but how does the program of support you from your day one as a student?
Well, I have just mentioned that since the first day that I have arrived, eye contact school, and it was 3 months before starting my programming, and I was invited to participate on school events, not only academic events, not only on football or sharing a beer. No, I was invited to participate on networking events and all this stuff that for me was really important. Once I start the Master in Finance full time, there's a lot of things that you need to understand that might not be easy when you start a program like this, because it's really flexible and you need to understand that there's different ways to course this programming. So as you mentioned before, there are different formats for the electives. So right now, the last 2 weeks, we have been choosing our electives. So it was, at least in my case, I reached to the program office, asked them about all these different formats, how they recommend me to apply for the different electives, which they thought could be better for my profile, what I'm looking for. And the truth is that I sent an email and asked if, in this case, it was Molly, if she can help me with that. And she told me, do you want to come right now? As I live only 2 blocks away from school, I was there. Okay, in 15 minutes I will be there. And she spent almost an hour talking with me, helping me with all this stuff. So, and the same happened with different things, not only electives, but, well, maybe it's not related with the program office, but we have also the Career Center, who helps us with all the topics related with your intention or your willingness to reach some industry, how to prepare for interviews, and different stuff. So
that was going to be my next question. How does the Career Center support you, and how do they come into that equation, basically?
Well, the Career Center helped me quite a lot since day one, also because, as I mentioned before, I was willing to create this officer role at the Private Equity and Venture Capital Hub. So I reached Richard Band, who is like the responsible for the finance Career Center, I think, and I asked him for an appointment. We met, and he helped me a lot with all the development of this idea that I have. He introduced me to the president of the club, of the private equity club, and he asked me also to help him to work together on the development of this idea, not only on the club, but also on school. We also have one-on-one sessions where we can work on our CV, we can work on our cover letters, on developing our story, because every case is different. Every student has a different background, but there's a lot of people looking for a career change here. So it's important to understand what companies are looking for and how to sell yourself. That's, at least for me, the most important part here. And it's not easy because most of us are from different cultures. And if you are looking for a job here in London, there's a lot of things that you should know that are really important, that because of coming from a different continent, culture, whatever, you need someone to teach you that stuff or to explain how things should be done. There are several things. Like some case was like 2 weeks ago, someone from headhunter company arrived and explained us how companies do their recruitment, and they were explaining us that there's a different profile for every different company, And all that stuff is what, as a student, and willing to reach a job in some specific industry, you need to know. And the Career Center is every week, almost every day, able to meet you and to explain all this stuff and to help you on writing, as I mentioned, your CV, your cover letter, which is the best industry that could match your interests. Well, I'm really happy. They are really helpful. Well, I think that it's something really valuable from school. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. I have a very good question for you from someone in the audience.
Yeah.
They're saying, how long have you been preparing for the application?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I have been preparing for, I don't know, here I have Christian.
Count.
Yeah, no. Here I have Christian. I have applied on round one, okay, and before I was sure that I wanted to apply and be admitted at LBS, and this was the only school that I have applied for. I was really sure that I wanted this, so if I'm not wrong, the round one started at September or something like that. So on August, I have been talking with Christian since 6 months before the starting of the first round.
Just to give a background to everyone, Christian Hooden is our recruitment coordinator for the Masters in Finance. So
yeah, I reached him, asked him, sent him my CV. He answered my email telling me that I was a fit for the Masters in Finance. When I received that email, I started preparing. You have to take some exams, so you have to start studying. You have the GMAT, you have the TOEFL if you are not from an English country, English-speaking country. So I started preparing for all the stuff, studying, and you have to put a lot of effort also in your application, because there are, maybe you think that you have only to write three essays on, but you have to write and be sure of what you are saying, because it's maybe a once in a life opportunity. So I took it really serious. 3 months before applying, I flight here to London. I met Christian, and he introduced me to school. He showed me all the campus and everything. And in my opinion, that was something that I was sure that I want to be here, and I wanted to show my interest. Well, it was a big effort, and I put a lot of time for my application. I have contacted a lot of people, alumni and students, to understand how their strategy was, what was how was life at school, and the different clubs. Started to understand how is life here at LBS, because when you are applying, you need to explain why you want to be here, why you want to be in London, how you will be participating, which value do you have to add to the community, and that's a lot of things that you have to do your research, and it's time demanding, but worth it.
Thank you very much. I think that was very good tips. Cool. The next one is, someone is asking how challenging the content is so far. Would you consider to be stretching your capability and really pushing you to think about financial issues?
Right now, I'm on my core courses, so most of them are like, well, as I mentioned, there are investment, corporate finance, financial accounting, and analysis. There's also purpose of finance, but it's on the third term. But they are really good courses. They demand a lot of study. But in my opinion, the best part or the hardest part or what I'm looking for is the electives. The electives are what everyone is willing to learn, you know. In this case, because of my background, I used to have experience both on investments and corporate finance, maybe not a lot on financial accounting, so that was a little bit hard for me. It demands a little bit more of, yeah, I don't know if it was a little bit, but much more time than the other courses. But you have not only the lessons, but you have also tutorials where you can go and ask if you have any doubt, and you have some support there too. So that's something that helped me too. And I don't remember if there's anything else related to
I think you covered everything. I think what I would add as well is that every single core course or every single elective will be different for every single one of you because you'll have different backgrounds.
That's right.
And the good thing is that you're going to have a class full of different backgrounds. So your classmates will be there to help you as well. So you'll be lacking some knowledge of accounting, but you will have loads of accountants within the class that can actually help you out and sit down with you and give you some tutorial if you need something extra. And you can give something back eventually. So
no, sure, but also we should remember that most of the classes are on group studies. So and each group study is with members from different backgrounds, not only from different cultures, but also different industry backgrounds. So when you're working on all these assignments, you realize that what you don't know, the other person or someone in your team have experience on it. So it's really good, and it's incredible to be able to be on an environment where you have people from all around the world, different industries, and with professional experience. That I think it's the most important thing about LBS, that I'm studying and learning not only from professors and faculty, but also from my peers, from my colleagues. So, and I'm learning quite a lot from them. So that's really interesting and help you a lot when you are studying for these courses. It's something really important and was really important for me before deciding to apply to LBS.
Francisco, I just wanted to get your opinion on the actual classroom environment. Like, how have you found the teaching style, the sort of interaction between your classmates and the teachers, the teaching assistants? Like, has that met your expectations? How have you found it just in general?
Now, it's really, I don't want to sound like selling the LBS brand, but it's really, really impressive. How can you, I think that we are, in my stream, almost 50 people, all from, most of them from different countries, and professors gives you the space to have a debate and to talk about all this stuff. And it was really good when you hear someone, or maybe you are asking something, and professor maybe don't know the answer, you know, and he's asking, okay, that's not my specialty, but does anybody know the answer about it? And for sure, there's someone, because so many backgrounds, so many cultures, so it's really good to have that relationship with professors, you know, on the class, and it's really useful for you, I think, because as I mentioned before, you are learning not only from first level, first class professors, but also from first class professionals, you know. So,
Thanks.
Great. What would be your best advice for new starters? What to expect and how to prepare for your first day or week at LBS?
you know, in my case, you don't have to prepare a lot. School will do everything for you. Day one was like a presentation. The dean present the course. I know the dean was quite new here at school, so he presented himself. They prepare like an event where we met every other student, every other student. We met our group members, and we spent the whole day learning about school, the different activities that we will have, and spend some time together networking between each other, not only with faculty but also with the other students. So after that, you have like, I think it's 2 weeks of like introduction, where you are not having your courses, but you are learning about school and being introduced to school and having different spaces where you can work on the development of your CV, your cover letter, and different stuff related to both school and life in London. Because in my case was different because I arrived 3 months earlier, but a lot of people arrived just like 1, 2, or maybe 1 day before, or maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. So they are still looking for an apartment and opening an account. So you also have the support on all this stuff. My advice will be to be chill, relax, come here, you will have the support you need, and be excited about everything that is going to come, and not be worried about preparing for things that are really not necessary, at least in my opinion.
Cool. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you what's your opinion on the concentration. So are you going to get one yourself, or have you thought about it? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah. This is something that I'm thinking about. Before arriving to London, on my application, I was sure that I wanted to become a derivative structurer. I was like, I want to do that. I'm sure that I want to do that. I arrived here in London. I start realizing that there's a lot of things in the financial industry that I didn't know about it. Right now, my head is like blowing up. It's like too much content and everything, and I want to do everything. It's like, okay, derivative structuring is really cool, but maybe there's something better, And right now, I'm thinking on working on leverage finance or private debt, structuring debt. In my opinion, I'm looking for the corporate finance, but I'm also really interested on the asset management, investment management, orientation, concentration. I think that this is something that you haven't mentioned, but you can have both concentrations if you have the requirements necessary to get it. So if you participate on the finance at work and you have the necessary electives for each concentration, you can have both of the concentrations. So my idea is to get both of them. It's hard because you have to course between 7 and 10 electives. For me to be able to to have both considerations. I will have to have the 10 electives, but I would spend 1 year studying here, and that's what I have been dreaming since a long time ago. If I have to put big effort on that, I will do it. Well, my idea is to have both of that consideration, but I think they are really useful for reaching a job. Then, when you are networking, when you are having your interviews for internships, for full-time jobs, whatever, it shows that you are interested on that topic and that you have specialized on that topic, and it's something that you can decide. If you want to have a consideration, you can, but if you don't want, you also can have a generalist Master in Finance program. So
Good.
that's my opinion regarding.
Great. I think what you said before is very important as well. You do come with a plan, and we do make sure you have a plan when you actually write your application, and that's a tip out there. But you'll probably come here and you'll get exposed to so many different profiles, culturally but also professionally, that you'll change your mind about 10 times the first 3 months. Be open-minded, and I think that's my main advice.
I think the student clubs are another great way to get involved in an area that you may not have been involved in previously or don't want to get involved in. And as well as having the experience of other finance students with you, you get to share those groups with the MBAs, Master of Management students. So it really does increase your opportunity to meet different students from different areas.
Well, in my case, when I was working at Telecom, as I mentioned, I was team leader of the trading desk. We were of the financial resources department. We were responsible for both the trading desk, called the asset investments, but also the debt management. So I had experience on asset management. We used to have a portfolio of about $600 million, and we also managed debt. So we work on debt capital markets, issuing debt, hedging strategies, and we have an aggressive profile in some investments. So I was sure that I want to trade and structure all these derivatives. When I arrived here and started working on the private debt department of BBVA, I started realizing that the world is changing a lot. I was working on a really small market in Argentina. Technology is changing everything in the financial industry. So there's a lot of things that when you reach here to London and are exposed to all this information, and I have been talking with really important people from companies, CEOs of companies, and asking them, because I was really interested in understanding the future of the financial industry. Because if I'm 30 years old, and if I will develop a career, I want to have a career that at least can, to have a career of 20 years. There are some industries that are disappearing just because technology is eating everything in the industry. So I have been asking a lot of professionals about this issue, and a lot of them mentioned me that nobody knows what will happen in the next 10 years. We can talk about what will happen in the next 5 years maybe, but things are changing really fast. And that was something that, at least for me, changed my mind, because I was really sure that I would like to work on public markets. But after all these conversations, all this networking, and reaching all this information, I started thinking and having my own strategy for my career. And well, in my opinion, technology and algorithm can model public information, but private information can't be modeled. So I realized, okay, if I want to have a long professional career, it will be better for me to work on the private sector. So that's why I change my idea or my willingness to find a job on some industry, and I joined, as Christian said, the private equity and venture capital club, looking for the things that I have experienced, but also a place where I can learn and be exposed to new things and new people. It's a really good environment. The class and every space schools gives you to understand how you want to develop your professional career and which should be your strategy depending on your aspiration.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you very much everyone for joining us today. It has been a pleasure talking with you, Francisco, and thank you once again for sharing your experiences. For our audience, once again, in case you tuned in late, these are the next steps you can take to find out more and keep in touch. You can submit your CV on our website for an informal consultation. You can contact us at mif@london.edu to arrange a consultation or phone chat, and we would love to hear from you, so do stay in touch. Our next webinar is on the 6th of December, and it focuses on the Career Centre role and support to our